kuhusiana na mkataba ama maafikiano ya mkataba wa utendakazi. Hebu tuwasikilize.
They are admitting to the fact that they have no compensation for any clinical officer who is going to die in line of duty for their families, and their families will have to live in destitution because their father or mother decided to be on the front line and to fight and protect fellow Kenyans from the scourge of COVID. And so we are wondering, this doublespeak, today they tell us that they have taken care of everything. In fact, the governor of Kisii has even gone ahead and wants to dismiss nurses and clinic officers, saying that whatever they're asking for, he has already provided. Now, yesterday, he's telling us that they do not even have the capacity to implement the group life cover that compensates anybody who dies from COVID-19. And so you can see sometimes the indifference that we are subjected to as a union, and the reason sometimes, even in the middle of pandemic, we have to come out and go on a strike. Because I think if you are looking for a justification as to how we can actually go into a strike during a pandemic, I think you now do have a reason. We have been told that, yes, your working environment is not safe. If you are going to die, we are not going to compensate you. And if you go on strike, we are going to sack you. What kind of an employer, if not a hostile employer, is going to do that? We saw, especially for the KMPDU, that the Governor Ongwae had already actually signed. It's only His Excellency Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, the chair, who did not sign. But now they are telling us even that one does not stand, that we are supposed to go and sign the return to work formulas with individual counties. And then you wonder, the communication they did yesterday was in the recognition that the Council of Governors is the authority that speaks on behalf of the 47 counties. When it comes to something that does not suit them, then it is no longer convenient for them to use the Council of Governors, and now they want to tell you to go back to the counties. So it has become a tool that is used to frustrate health workers whenever we are trying to advance very genuine issues. And I think we are here today to say that we know the government, from His Excellency to the CS Health, His Excellency the President to the CS Health, they have the goodwill, and the Council of Governors has been fully briefed and has participated up to the last decision under the multi-agency committee. And so we cannot actually be taken back by politics, by playing politics with issues that are central to the right to life and to right to highest attainable standards of health as provided under the Constitution. Let me also say this, and it's good for Kenyans to know. Do not think that the COVID-19 infections have gone down. When the health system is working well, we are the people who send these people for the tests. The reasons as to why you are seeing low numbers being given daily, it's not because the curve is going down. It's because the health system is not working. And that is why we decided to come and compromise so that we can at least go back with an agreement on how we are going to ensure that the working environment is safe. But now, yesterday, we were told we do not care. You have to work either way. If you die, it's upon you. And if you don't work, we sack you. And so that is the environment that we are being told to work under as the health workers in this country. So we are telling them that we are putting them on notice, the Council of Governors, so that if the return to work formula is not going to hold, then that means that also calling off the strike, because it was one of the agreements under, is not going to hold, and we shall be going back on strike. So we will be giving them 2 days, 48 hours, for them to be able to come together, harmonize and agree, and sign the return to work formula that has already been signed by the CS Health, so that Kenyans can be able to enjoy health. I'm saying it's unprecedented because we never thought that a Council of Governors would ever call the medics to go on strike. But actually today, what they have done, they have told the union that we went back to work too early and they need us to go back to strike. And then, of course, they are going to tell us when to go back to work because they are the ones who have refused to sign the return to work formula. Allow me to invite the GS so that he can read the statement on behalf of the union.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the Fourth Estate, fellow Kenyans, my name is George Gibore. I'm the General Secretary, Kenya Union of Clinical Officer. Allow me read the statement, which we never wished to, but because this is a hurdle that has been set by the part of the government, we will have to respond to it. This is the Kenya Union of Clinical Officer press statement dated 5th January 2021. In any case, this is our second press statement this year, after having the first one on 1st, where we had called off our strike in a manner that we had actually been able to have an agreement with the government. The Kenya Union of Clinical Officer is in receipt of the letter by the Chairman, Council of Governors, with utmost shock and dismay on the turn of event after agreeing to a return to work formula for clinical officer on 1st January 2021. As a union, we wish to state as follows: that the Council of Governors participated and have been participating in the conciliation process, that he realized the return to work for clinical officer by the multi-agency team that was set in place by the CS Labor under the Ministry of Labor. That the Council of Governors are being insincere and unrealistic, to say the least, that the return to work be signed at the individual county, yet again acknowledge the ongoing conciliation at the Ministry of Labor, where they are participating fully. The letter by the COG is actually an admission that the health service are not properly coordinated in our country since devolution, and they need an emergency surgery to cure the unending health sector problems. That the COG is living in denial that individual county have failed in management of the human resource for health since devolution, leading to over 103 strikes since 2013 after devolution up to date. That the Chairman, Council of Governors, on 24th, congratulated the Kenya Medical Practitioner and Dentist Union for calling off their strike in a similar manner, and urged other striking healthcare workers to follow suit. The question that remains is why change of heart when it comes to the clinical officers? That the Council of Governors also admit that the health workers' grievances are common across the counties, but it fails to see into the need to have a common and centralized solution to their problems. That the union agree that the recognition agreement for the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers is with individual counties, but homogeneously similar word by word. That we note that some of the counties have never done any promotion since the devolution. Shockingly, Kakamega leads, followed by Vihiga, Kirinyaga, Laikipia, among other counties. And they are still resisting promotion by intimidating members, putting them in the state of servitude. That we also note that all the matters on our agreed return to work formula are common across the counties and can only be addressed from the central point, including the finalization of the CBA. That is the collective bargaining agreement. That the letter by the COG is a sheer contempt and ingratitude to the head of state who intervened to have the strike ended and normalcy resumed in the public health facilities for the interest of poor Kenyans. That by virtue of the highlighting of the 3 points on the COG letter, the Chairman Council of Governors admits that the matter on the clinical officers' return to work formula is beyond individual counties and they need to be addressed centrally. However, we note that this was intended and is attempting to profile clinical officer for actually asking for harmonization of the terms of employment for clinical officer and health risk allowance, which also undermine the risk that they are involved in individually. That it is also shocking to note that they are opposed to the enhanced comprehensive group life insurance for healthcare workers, yet on several occasions while addressing media, they said they have provided the same to our members, hence no need to go on strike. This is a more reason why they must be handled centrally. That the Council of Governors is a clear sanction on the continuity of the clinical officer strike. That the union has today, this morning, held a meeting with its advisory council and deliberated on the new development and have resolved as follows. That we as the union have full trust in the head of state and the CS Health on their goodwill to have this matter resolved amicably and centrally. 2, that the agreed return to work formula be fully signed in the next 48 hours to allow continuity of service delivery in our public sector, failure to which we shall go by the COG resolution that the return to work formula does not apply to them and shall resume strike without any further notice. Let me elaborate that we are here where we are because of the new hurdle that have been set by the county government. And we must be very specific that indeed we have the goodwill and we buy into the goodwill of the president. And we want to say we have demonstrated the same despite the yesterday letter by the COG, which was addressed to the CS Health, who never had even a restful date on the first day of this year, and ensured that we can have normalcy in the health sector. But they go ahead and recall every agreement that they have participated in. So we have given 48 hours for them to think whether their decision is that of the interest of the poor Kenyans, or they are actually minding their own business, where every year they allocate money for promotion of healthcare workers, but this money disappears before the end, or rather the lapse of that financial year. This money is never accounted for, and healthcare workers continue begging for promotion year after year. We have stated very clearly that indeed Kenya need to examine where we need to go if at all our leaders cannot take the health of healthcare workers very, very seriously, and including for the poor Kenyans who always seek services in our public health facility. And we want to say this, that it is a time to censure our leadership, because they have a lot of double standard. They actually speak in the manner that they are confusing Kenyan. In the letter of the COG, they have admitted that there are issues that they need to be handled centrally. They have admitted that there is an ongoing conciliation. But again, they recall that we cannot have a return to work for clinical officers signed centrally. They themselves, led by the head of the county, chairman of the Council of Governors, His Excellency the Governor for Kakamega, actually applauded the KMPDU for making decision on 24th by calling off their strike, and they call us to follow the suit. And after only participating, having this agreement, they recall it and say they dissociate themselves from it and ask us to go back to strike. We do not want to buy into this politics, because even the return to work for clinical officer was never made public, but the governors went and made it public to ensure that they were politicizing in the manner that they have done. Now talking of other employees who have not raised issues. We want to say negotiation, when Kenya negotiates with its counterpart like Tanzania, you do not talk about Uganda. You can only talk with the people who are on the table. And this is what we call politics. I have seen the governor saying that
Naam, bila shaka hapo ni katibu mkuu katika muungano wa maafisa wa kliniki hapo George Gibore akisoma taarifa yao, ambapo wametoa makataa ya saa 48 kwamba huenda wakalazimika kuelekea kwenye mgomo, mtazamaji, iwapo baraza la magavana chini ya wenyekiti wa Wycliffe Oparanya, gavana wa Kakamega, wataendelea kuhujumu mkataba wa makubaliano uliotiwa saini tarehe mosi mwezi huu. Ni mkataba ambao tayari ulikuwa ushatiwa saini na Wizara ya Afya, lakini baraza la magavana lingali halijatia saini, na hivyo basi malalamishi yao walisitisha mgomo huo na huenda wakalazimika kurejea tena mgomoni. Taarifa ambayo mtazamaji utakuwa unipata kikamilifu mwendo wa saa 7 kwenye taarifa za News Desk. Mimi ni ruhusu niondoke. Naitwa Cecilia wa Kesho Mathuva. Kwa niaba ya wote waliofanikisha taarifa hizi na kutakia mchana mwema, kwa heri.